Well, hello Pisces, this is Joe, and I do have a spirit message for you for the month of May, and at the end, maybe a few tarot cards. Before we get started, a couple of quick things. First, you'll know this is for you because it just will make sense, it'll fit, some things will stick out to you, and they'll grab your attention. Some of this might not immediately, and it's not until later in the month that maybe some of this makes sense. And of course, this isn't for everybody. We all understand that. Also, I want to point out that if you've emailed me and contacted me regarding personal readings, yes, I do them, but I'm busy right now. I'm kind of backed up, so I will respond to all emails just as soon as I can here, and you know, I'll get in touch with you. Also, I think, well, actually, that's it. We're going to get right into the message, and if you see me looking down, I did take some notes. How this works is I do a meditation. I spend about an hour in it, and I really focus in on those who have aspects of Pisces in their chart, mainly their sun sign, but you can check your moon, rising, and Venus signs as well. If you're looking for a little bit more clarity or something that maybe makes sense for you, that's always something you should probably look at. But what I do is I spend a little time in meditation, about an hour, and I really try and get the biggest predominant messages, and I do afterwards, I do take some notes and write down what came through. And so this is what it is, and this is how that works. So for you, Pisces, in the month of May, you are a water sign, okay? So this is almost like about the natural free flow falling of water. That's kind of what this feels like this month for you. And what I mean by that is water naturally finds its own path, its own equilibrium, and it always goes to the lowest point. It always flows downhill, and it always gathers in a pool. You know, so this is about water, just kind of that flow, that natural flow. And a lot of this is kind of reflection of some emotional things this month, and I think that what this month is calling to you is to let some things just flow naturally for you. If you're trying to get an outcome one way or the other in a situation, and you're really trying hard to trying to get something to work out a specific way or a way that you want, what this is saying is to let some of these things this month and just trust the process in this, and just step back. Let some of these things kind of come to a head on their own, or let some of these things just naturally go in the direction they're going to go, because it's going to be one of these things that's going to resolve quicker if they're allowed to just flow and go in the natural path that it's supposed to go into. This is really important because some of these things need to just clear up on their own, and with interference, because out of maybe some of this is out of fear of the way something might turn out. You might be scrambling or trying to get something to specific happen, and it might prolong the process of some things. So I think this is a very important month for you to trust the process. Let some things just flow the way they're flowing and let them work out. You might also find that if you're too busy or too wrapped up in some things, that you might miss out on some opportunities. And that's the other part of this message, is there is this idea, if you're too busy, this feeling, if you're too busy really overthinking something or overworking a problem to that end, that you might most likely miss out on something else. And so this is saying to just trust the process, let everything flow naturally, and to really just be willing to let go of some things and let them settle on their own. Also, the next message I got was, for some of you, you had a bit of a really annoying problem going back several months. For some of you, this is maybe longer than that. This has been like a thorn in your side. It's just this annoying problem. And this is going to, either come to an end this month, or it's going to begin to start the process of ending. And I think this is kind of goes with this whole idea of letting things flow, trusting the process. There's this other message that came through is, and this might be more specific to some of you, but between the 13th and the 23rd of May I get the feeling that it's the highest potential for some things in your life to balance out. There's this time period in there where there's this feeling that things will balance out in this time frame. It's where the highest potential is. But I think that really depends on your willingness to let things kind of resolve in a way that is more natural instead of being more coercive. Some of you've had also this like really deep need for justice, wanting some kind of justice or fairness in a situation, and it is your time to begin to see that unfold. And for some of you, this is really heavy, and if you listen to me for a minute, I mean, it's really heavy. And there's a reason that us as humans have such a deep desire for justice, because some things can be so wrong that they have the potential to not only just impact you, but your children and your children's children. We've seen this throughout humanity play out many times over, where something is so inherently wrong and the need for justice is so strong because it plays out for many generations to come into the future. And so I'm not saying this is that big, don't get me wrong, but there is something that was really heavy and really harsh. And some of you are really you're more concerned about the idea of getting justice. That is coming. Might not be exactly the way that you see it should be happening, but it's going to come in the best way possible that it can. So if that makes sense to you, you'll know what I'm talking about if this specific message is for you. Finally, we do have a couple other things. The 27th of May could be a very significant day for you. Pay attention to your surroundings or people you don't know, because there's some of you are going to be in the vicinity, maybe just an earshot, or you might see something and hear something that gives you a bit of an idea. And this leads to something that is like actually quite brilliant. It's just something, it's just one of those things that you seem to accidentally hear, see, or witness, or whatever. And it's going to either give you an idea or it's going to plant a little seed in you, a little desire about something. And also tied into this might come out of some kind of kind gesture or a little bit of help from a stranger, out and about. And so you might have this kind of experience, whether it's something you overhear or see, or just somebody you don't even know is just it's a kind gesture or some sort of thing that transpires on the 27th of May or right around the 27th of May. Could be very significant for you because there's some idea or some thought process that comes out of that, and it triggers something inside of you to really think about something and pursue something that maybe you normally wouldn't have. And I think this is a good thing, and I would say to just go with that. I'm going to pull some tarot cards to see if we can get anything else regarding this, Pisces. But again, this is, you're a water sign, and this is like a very strong message about letting that flow naturally occur in you this month. I think also the bigger message here for a lot of people this month is getting out and connecting with nature. Tend a garden, plant some plants, spend some time nurturing something outside of yourself. And in that, I think a lot of you will find some time and just have a little clarity, find some answers, or just be able to center yourself better. by doing something like that. We had a card fall out, so we actually had two, and we're gonna take this. And I just said, and this came out in the last reading I did for Scorpio, Seven of Pentacles. I said planting a garden, tending to something outside yourself, growing something. This could be figurative and this could be literal, but this really speaks to that need of grounding something. But it also talks about what I talked about previously, to let things flow and let things resolve on their own. Out of this month, you're going to find some growth, and that growth is probably going to come out of this part of the message where I talked about. There's just something, some interaction with somebody, and that's going to spark something. Also, I did talk about the time frame of the 13th, 23rd was the highest potential for some things to really resolve in your life. We also had the Two of Pentacles. And so I think, to me, intuitively, this message right here is not about your ability to handle more than one thing at a time. I think this is saying, be careful what you're trying to do, at the same time, how many things you're taking on, how many things you're trying to balance. You might need to let something go or put something down in order to pick something else up. So this is really saying to be mindful of what it is you're taking on. And we did talk about the idea of letting things resolve naturally on their own, and perhaps this is a reflection of one of these things that you've been kind of juggling going away on its own, and it frees you up really for some other things. So I think that's really, to me, the message that comes out in this. We'll pull one more tarot card, and then I'll pull some other cards here. We have the Ace of Wands, and so this is really a great card to have in this reading, because Pisces, we talked about some things going away and some things just naturally working out. And I think what this does, this idea of like something new comes in, and we don't really know what that is, but it's something that you kind of receive this divine spark of an idea or information that leads you to pursue something or go after something or think about something. And I think this Ace of Wands is about that, that first step, that movement that you are going to probably take toward the end of May. And it also, when I said trust the process, this is also about trusting that and just kind of going with it. And that's part of the big message for you this month. And we're going to pull just, I don't know, one more. We'll pull one out of here. We'll see what kind of other message we get here. See if we get a card that wants to jump out, or I'll just stop when I find one that, there we go. The Fates. So some things at this time in your life are fated. So some things are really just meant to be, and some things aren't. And sometimes we hope for things to be like a fate, a relationship. Oh, it was fate, or something happening and it was fate. And so we can fall in love with the idea of something being fate, and it really isn't. It's like this false fate, because sometimes we really have a strong desire to have certain things in our lives, and sometimes those things turn out to not be so good. But I think this is really saying to, in this whole realm of letting things flow and naturally trickle down in your life and settle out, it's going to allow you to experience some real true fated events, things that are really truly genuine and destined and fated for you. And I think this is probably the bigger message in that, because sometimes, like I said, and I've done this many times in my life, and I had to learn the hard way, just because I really love something or care about something or an idea of something so much, I convinced myself that, oh, this is fate. But really it's that false fate. And for me, it really took a lot of understanding to realize when something is really fated. And you'll truly know it, because it'll feel just normal. It'll feel natural. And so you'll know that. You'll know it because it'll feel natural. And I think you have a point toward the end of this month where you start realizing that some things in your life really weren't fate. They were more of a karmic choice. And I think you'll also see that by letting things flow naturally in your life this month and let some things resolve, that you will find some true blessings in some kind of fated event that'll be good for you. I'm going to pull one more here because I feel like there's more for you in this. Pisces. What do we need to know for Pisces? May 2020. And you know, I've been wearing a hat in all my videos because I can't get a haircut. Man, it's driving me crazy. Oh, I got a card that really did not want to pick up. Imagine. So I'm going to put it this way. Sometimes we have the attitude, I'll believe it when I see it. And I think that is really the glass is half empty kind of attitude. And I think what is probably the bigger message here is to really turn that around on yourself and maybe start looking at things a little bit differently, or just saying things a little bit differently, because our words and thoughts really do have an impact on our external world. And instead of saying things like I'll believe it when I see it, really turn that around and say I'll see it when I believe it, and start working on belief. What you can create, you can internally, what you can create internally, a desire, something that is good for you. You can not only just imagine it, but you can actually experience that. And belief is a lot about that. And that belief in things that are things that you want out of life, that belief starts with imagination. You know, we have to start the thought process to think up, or to come up, or to rationalize or experience something internally first. When we experience things internally first, whether through a meditation, daydreaming dreams, or just fantasizing about things, because we all do that, that's that core of creation and co-creating, is that imagination. And that imagination is where all these things come from. That's part of our thought process, and those thoughts are not contained just up here. Our thoughts really do permeate our existence in our external world. I'm a firm believer of that, and I really think the message here is to let some things clear out. Be willing to trust the process in some things this month, even if it makes you uncomfortable or nervous or scared, to let go and let some things just work out. This is more of about some acceptance maybe on your part, that some level of acceptance has to occur in order for things to work out into your highest good and to really bloom into something better, more productive, more fruitful for you, coming out of May into June. So with that said, Pisces, that's the message I have for you this month. If it does, if it makes sense to you, if it fits with you, please do me a favor, leave me a thumbs up, subscribe if you will, share, leave a comment. I always appreciate the feedback. I love getting comments, but I also love receiving emails too and hearing from you people, because I feel so very connected to everybody out there. And this is a time now more than ever to really connect on a very human level with everybody. And I think we're in for some really fantastic changes and some great acceleration of changes coming up in the coming 8 to 10 months. There's some really big to occur, and I think some people are living in that element of fear, and that element of fear is not really a good place to be. Nobody wants to be in that. So this is a time to celebrate change, and in all this change are so many different opportunities that are, really going to come your way. But some things have to clear out for you in May, I feel like. With that said, this is the message I have for you. Again, leave me a thumbs up, a comment, subscribe if you will. And with that, I'm going to say I'll see you again later this month. I have some more stuff coming out for Pisces this month. And I'll see you then, and I'll talk to you then. Thank you.